like you were saying.
Right.
As far as dying, I don't know quite what to make of it. I think we're sort of programmed to avoid it. But at the same time, you've got a couple of possible outcomes. One is when you die, you live on in some fashion, and the other is when you die, you disappear. And in neither case, does it seem to me like you should worry about it?
That's true.
Yeah,
it's kind of out of your hands.
suffering.
You're not going to worry about it. Actually, my dad told a wonderful story about that. He said, he was a physician. I think Rachel and I both come from medical families, but his solution to most things was walk it off. But
yes, my dad. He's like, I miss my dad because if I'm sick, what I wanted to do is call dad. He'd say, it's nothing.
Yeah. He said, you only have two things to worry about. Either you're well or you're sick. So if you're well, you have nothing to worry about. If you're sick, you have only two things to worry about. Either you'll get well or you'll die. If you get well, you have nothing to worry about. If you die, you have only
nothing to worry about.
Either you go to heaven or you'll go to hell. If you go to heaven, you have nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you'll be so busy shaking hands with friends that you won't have time to worry.
Noah did not get a snowflake upbringing, that's for sure.
Well, it's interesting that if it's the physician's upbringing, right? It's the physician's kids, right? Because it's like basically, if you're not dead, you'll recover, which was my dad was, his favorite phrase was, the only reason surgeons can do anything is because the body heals itself.
Yeah, that's what Dad always said. And I'll tell you something else, by the way, talking about. It seems to me like this is relevant somehow. We're talking about our dads. My dad was a believer in medicine. He was a scientist, but he was also a believer in human compassion. And I can't tell you the number of times when I was a little boy, when the phone would ring in the middle of the night, and he would run off basically to hold somebody's hand because he thought that was what they needed. And sometimes just reaching out to another person matters more than giving them a drug. And you can't really explain it, but it's true.
That's why it feels like there's some kind of spirituality to it, because there's no, to me, like a biological or logical reason for that. I mean, there's something otherworldly to it in me that would make somebody that's just in them, like somebody needs your help. All right, it's 2 a.m. I'm exhausted. I got to work at 5. I'm going to be awful at work tomorrow because I'm exhausted. I don't care. Not even a thought crossed their mind about that. I'm going and I'm holding this person's hand.
Yeah.
And it does bring into question what we ought to be doing while we are living, knowing that we will die. Because like you pointed out, I think, Josh, someone who doesn't believe that they're going to cease to exist may have reasons to do things that other people who think that they will cease to exist when they die don't have reason to do. So that can lead, I think, into some of these moral dilemmas that we come into. And I mean, Pascal wrote about this in Honest Wager. And so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, if you're familiar with the wager, and what your response to that would be. I mean, I know that basically what you said thus far is that, I mean, either way, it's sort of like a 50-50, and neither way will you suffer. But in terms of how we live our lives now, it does seem to me to have some impact. So do you have any thoughts on that?
The basic, as far as Pascal's wager goes, and I'm not sure exactly what you're getting at there, but one of the things I believe is that it's better to do the right thing for the wrong reason than to do the wrong thing.
Right.
And if you are doing the right thing because you're afraid of going to hell, you're still doing the right thing. It's better if you do it out of a sense of moral duty and nobility and things like that. But, it's still the right thing, whether you do it for the right reason or not.
So